listening to the Post-Apocalyptic Media Podcast. If it's post-apocalyptic, we're talking about it.
Hello and welcome back to the Post-Apocalyptic Media Podcast. I'm your host, Shawn, senior editor here at post-apocalyptic.com, and this is episode number 103. For this week, we have some, good news, bad news, all that kind of stuff that we normally like to do, as you have with an apocalyptic topic, am I right? So, but let's start out with some alpha and beta news. We have a new game that just was announced recently called Undawn, and they say it's an MMO. They say it has some like base building. It has some like mostly like a survival RPG. But the interesting thing about this is that it's going to be cross-platform from PC and mobile devices. So it's something that you can play on your phone, with people who are playing on the PC. And this is it's a Chinese game from Tencent. Tencent, if you're not aware, is one of the biggest companies in the world, one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world. They've been around for a long time. They own just most things you can think of. I think they own League of Legends. I think they bought that fairly early on when it came out. They used to own I forgot the name of it. It was back when I worked at Massively. It was a competitor of ours, and they owned them, and which was always a weird conflict of interest because they made games and they also owned a blog that wrote about games. We always thought it was weird, but anyway, Tencent is huge. They're still making games, and Undawn looks like one of those games that's it has PvE, PvP, both. You're surviving the wasteland. You're also playing as humans who are kind of controlling, areas of the world. They say it's a huge, huge, vast world. There's a little bit of a gameplay video from a YouTube channel called Anonymous YT, and they show the mobile version of the game. I have it included in the post that I made, in the article I made for this, for this topic. It looks good. I mean, you can't understand anything that's going on because it's all in Chinese, but it looks cool, especially for being a mobile version. The developers, Lightspeed Studios, have said that the closed beta will start on April 3rd, and it will be limited. So you have to go over to the sign-up page and sign up. They also have a Discord, and things like that you can check out. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, PC, Android, and iOS platforms. So not only just mobile, the typical you would think iOS, but they're also for Android and PC as well. So it looks pretty cool. It looks very, I don't know, it looks like something like State of Decay. That was always a cool game, kind of a zombie related, rebuild your base and improve your base and stuff like that. That was a fun game. It looks similar to that. That is my own, take on it. So no one's actually said this is supposed to be like State of Decay. No, it's very similar to that, but it looks cool. But April 3rd is when that beta will launch, and you can check it out for yourself. But I have the sign up for it in the post. Like I said, they say it's a limited beta, so if you want to go check that out, you should sign up quickly. I actually signed up myself. I'm hoping to get in there. I think that would be fun. All right, next little game news. This is more game news. There's a game called The Front, and it looks really, I keep saying impressive, and I keep saying looks great. I'm not going to talk about stuff that looks stupid, I think that I'm talking about the stuff that I really think looks good, and The Front looks like a really interesting, premise for a game. So this is another one where you're building your base, you're doing things like that. Now, what I think is important here, this is one of the biggest things I took away from this. They're talking about the open world, right? It's an open world game. They say that the world itself will be 36 kilometers squared. Now, if you think about that, now I'm talking about like real, 36 kilometers squared. Here in person might not seem like a big area, but when you think about it in relation to other games. So GTA 5, if you play GTA 5, that is about, I think it's about 12 kilometers squared, maybe 13. So this is, quite about 3 times bigger than GTA 5. Now, GTA 5 isn't known for being the biggest open world, but still, it has a pretty, you have sandy shores, and you have the city, and you know, Los Santos, and you have a lot of area there to explore. And then if you look at something like Just Cause 2, Just Cause 2 has about the same, about 30, I think it's like 32, 34, something like that. I saw some site that listed all of the sizes of all the different worlds. And so this is supposed to be about that size, a little bit bigger than the game world in Just Cause 2. And if you've played that game, you know that that's a vast open world. So that's a big, a big selling point, I think, is the big open world. They also have lots of terrain, of course, that's included in that. You have deserts, forests, tundra, all that kind of stuff. They also have weather, which is pretty cool. Fog, thunderstorms, sunny days, dark nights, and even blizzards. So now let's talk about the crafting part. So crafting, they have terrain modification. Now, I wrote in my article about this that it's kind of similar to something like Worm Online. I love Worm Online. I play that game. I used to play the heck out of that game. But that game, you can actually dig down. You can pick anywhere in the world, and you can just dig down and make a mine if you can hit rock. If you can get the angle right, you can make a mine, and then you can just dig in the mines forever, and until you hit water, basically. So it looks to be similar to that as far as, I don't know about the mining part, as far as the terrain modification. It also has, the crafting is pretty intense, just according to what we saw in the trailer. But it has like an electricity system, like a power system, so you can hook up. You hook up your generators and everything, and then you hook wires around your building, and then switches. It looks like there are switches where you can turn stuff on. And that's very similar to something like Icarus, which is another game I absolutely love, one of my top 5 games. And that has that same kind of dynamic, where you can set up electricity. And the power actually depends on how many generators you have. It all depends on that. It's very, very, very cool stuff. So yeah, I'm, as I'm naming some of my favorite games, and this being compared to those, of course, and even it has irrigation too, which is something that Icarus also has. So I'm naming my favorite games and comparing them to this, so you can tell that this is something I'm pretty excited about. They also have a Steam page where you can follow to see, the progression of the game and how it's doing. Now, this one doesn't have any kind of date set for a beta or launch or anything like that. So I don't know. It seems pretty cool. Let me just read. There's a description about this that it was from the trailer, or no, I guess it's from the site's official description. It says, already stripped of their freedom, faith, and in many cases, life, humans are on the verge of finally losing that which they call home. The surviving members of humanity's resistance are hoping to use time travel technology to return to the past and correct the course of history. So it's post-apocalyptic, but it's also time travel, and that, I love alternate history stuff. So that is another, it's like, I don't know. I get excited about these games, but this seems really, it kind of, checks all the right boxes. So that is called The Front, and we don't know when it's coming out, but they do have a Steam page for it. It says coming soon. So you can bet that I'll continue talking about this as I hear more, right? All right, so now we have another story about AI. Now it's getting to the point where, every episode pretty much is talking about AI, and it's a big, big deal right now. People have compared it to, I don't know, they've said that it's something that is society changing. It's revolutionizing everything that we're doing as far as industry, the arts. There's AI. Not only do we have chatbots, right? We have stuff that we can communicate with and have a conversation with, which is crazy. And then we have the art stuff, of course. They're just basically taking pieces of art and putting them together into a new, thing that looks incredible. But they also have, AI that can code. So AI can write its own software, which is crazy when you think about it. It's almost like it's self-replicating because, what's an AI's version of having a baby? It's coding something, right? So, I mean, it's coding. They're having it code games. People are making games and putting them on the App Store like crazy, and they're just completely coded by AI. There's like, who knows what these games actually do or, what's going on with them, but they're just putting them up doing this. People are writing books with ChatGPT and putting them up on, or making covers with AI art, which, I did that for my anthology. But at the time, I feel like at the time when I did that, it was very innocent. You know what I mean? But now it's getting to the point where people are making, it's kind of like their side hustle. If you go on YouTube and you say how to make money with AI, there's some incredible stuff out there. There's a lot of people are making little side hustles out of having books written in AI and then the cover done in AI, and then they're selling them because, boy, selling stuff on KDP, the Kindle Direct Publishing through Amazon is so easy. Trust me, it's so easy. Anyone can do it. And this is kind of, a testament to that. Well, before I go too far into that tangent, which is, that's what this show is all about, my tangents, right? There's an important new thing that people are saying that AI could do. And these are experts. These are New York University surveyed experts in the field of natural language processing. So these are like language experts. And they asked them, what do you think, what could AI turn into at some point? And people were saying, and these are experts again, that are saying it could overturn our current society, right? If mishandled. And I think that's a given, right? I firmly believe. There are many things throughout history, especially in recent history, that have completely changed society. The iPhone, smartphones in general, streaming, Netflix. I've talked about this last time, but I feel like that's exactly these types of things have revolutionized society. But these experts are talking about the possibility of AI starting a nuclear war. They're saying the mishandling of AI could result in something as catastrophic as nuclear war. Now, keep that in mind while I tell you that this survey was done before ChatGPT. This was done last May, if you said something about AI, you'd be like, oh, are you talking about like Skyrim NPCs? Yeah, the AI is horrible. That's the kind of AI that you would be talking about. Of course, people know what AI is for, decades. But now, even the term AI has been revolutionized. When you say AI now, people are like, oh, you're talking about Bing? You're talking about Midjourney? You're talking about ChatGPT? Well, yes, but it's so much more than that. So this is something, I guess if we go, by the numbers here, there were 480 researchers polled. 73% of those said that the AI automation in the workforce could lead to revolutionary societal change, which I 100% agree with. You know what I mean? Especially now. Here we are. This was from last May. We're almost a year later, and look how much has changed. But 36% of those surveyed said that they think AI has the power to cause catastrophic outcomes that could lead to an all-out nuclear war. If you've ever seen, the movie War Games, I think it was probably 82, 83 that, Matthew Broderick, Ali Sheedy, great movie. I saw it as a kid. I was probably, 9 or 10, I think, when I saw it. And it just, boy, that movie, it's famous now. If you don't know it, if you're a young buck listening to this and you don't know War Games, basically this kid is a hacker. He's Ferris Bueller, right? Matthew Broderick. And so he basically plays Ferris Bueller the hacker, where he stays home and he hacks into this global computer. Now back then, it was laughable. It was a green what do they call those? The green type on the screen. I forgot what they call that kind of monitor. Monochrome. It was a green monochrome screen, and it was the voice box that he hooked into the computer. Was like, "Would you like to play a game?" And it was just very robotic, and it was just he basically was playing chess with. I'm not going to spoil the movie for anyone, the three of you out there who haven't seen it, but he wants to play chess, and then he teaches the computer to play chess, and that there's no winner. Basically, there's no winner in chess. I don't know, and the point is that it almost starts a nuclear war, and it even simulates a nuclear war with Russia at that time. And it's amazing now, here we are, 40 years later, right? And we're getting the possibility of that being a real thing. If AI got to the point where, it could be I don't want to say self-aware. That's such a Terminator term. But you know what I mean? It's like once it gets to the point where it's self-governing and it kind of has its own feelings. It's weird. But you know what I mean? If it probably isn't that far-fetched that it could at some point do something that would jeopardize all of humanity. And I don't know that it would really be sorry about it. You know what I mean? It doesn't have those types of things that keep us now from annihilating each other. The human morals and just, long-term, we can think long-term, and we understand what could happen if there was a nuclear war. AI doesn't really do that. They don't really know what that's like. And so they don't have the humanity, to be able to stop that. So yeah, I completely agree. I think this is scary, but what's even scarier is right now we're at a point where we don't need AI to start a nuclear war because we're almost doing it ourselves. We're at a crazy point where, China is threatening the US is threatening Russia's invading everywhere, so we're in a very scary time right now. And I feel like we're getting distracted by thinking AI could start nuclear war when we're doing it ourselves. So there we go. There's my soapbox for the minute. All right, let's just move on, right? Let's move on to something that is fake, something that couldn't happen, and that is The Last of Us. The Last of Us is just about to do episode number 9, which will be the finale for season 1. Episode 8 landed last Sunday. Another great episode. I mean, I won't spoil it because I feel like not everyone is able to watch it just yet. But it's just a really good show. It's really... No spoilers. Check it out. If you haven't checked it out yet, check it out. It's a really good show. It does change a lot from the game. I've heard a lot of things where people are... it also has things that are exactly like the game. But they are changing a few things. Episode 8 had a couple big changes to a character to kind of, shall I say, modernize it, to what popular public opinion is. So they changed some things there. I'm not a big fan of that, but episode 9 is coming up, and that will be the finale. So at that point, of course, we know there's going to be a season 2. I mean, what they're basing this first season on is not the entire game, the first Last of Us game. It's a part of it, and actually they had some DLC in there too for episode 7. So, or no, I guess that was 8. No, it was, yeah, I don't know what's going on. No, I think it was 7. Anyway, so they had some DLC stuff thrown in there. So they're, that's cool that they're branching off and kind of exploring the side stories to build up this, the bigger story for what will probably be at least one more season, maybe 2 more seasons. We'll see how long they can drag this out. Because right now, it's a moneymaker. This is the number 1 show, and it's just a big deal for HBO, and which, HBO has had some hits lately. So this is really cool. Yeah. So check it out if you haven't checked it out already. And most importantly, Tina writes a review of every episode usually a day or two after it comes out, usually Monday or Tuesday. So if you have seen it, if you've seen the episode and you want to read more about it, maybe figure out if there's something you missed or, whatever, Easter eggs, all that kind of stuff, check out her articles on the site. All right, so another great piece of news. There's so much great news this week. This one is very exciting, and I kind of saved it for last. I mean, it's not entirely last, but it's pretty close. So Apple has announced they've released a trailer, the official trailer for Silo. Silo is the book series that include, I think a lot of people know it as Wool by Hugh Howey. Wool is actually the first book. Then there's Shift and Dust, the other two books. But so a lot of people know it as Wool for some reason. It's kind of like Lord of the Rings. People call it Lord of the Rings, and I guess there's also The Hobbit. There's also Two Towers. Anyway, so Silo is the name of this. It's coming on Apple TV Plus, and it looks incredible. Of course, what I think is funny is, if you read the books, you know what this is about. A lot of people compare it to Fallout because they have, the shelters and everything. But it's much more than that. Here's kind of the basic premise. There's the last 10,000 people on Earth, and they live in this bunker, this underground bunker. It's supposed to be a mile deep. So if you've ever played the game Fallout Shelter, it seems kind of similar to that. Where there's different floors and different things that happen on each floor, which other people have said, and I think this is a great comparison because it's very true. This is basically Snowpiercer stuck in the ground, right? If you dug a giant mile deep hole and you stuck Snowpiercer straight down, this would kind of be what it is, because you have different levels and different things happen on different levels of this giant shelter, underground shelter. 10,000 people live on it, which is much more than Snowpiercer. And people are not allowed to leave, and they're not allowed to question where this thing came from, right? They're not allowed to say, why are we here? It's just this thing that has to continue. It's the end of the world. They can't go out and explore. So this story comes from the perspective of one person. Who, her name is Juliet, and she's an engineer, and she's essentially, there's some stuff that went on. There was a murder, and so she's questioning it, and she's trying to figure out what's going on with this kind of, secret society that runs the silo, the underground silo. So we have that. We have the fact that, so we have, the fact that it's a great story to begin with. And we also have the fact that it's Apple. Apple's been doing some great stuff recently. C is always, I always mention C. It's always one of my favorite shows, at least the first two seasons. Anyway, so we also have Graham Yost, I think it's pronounced. He is the guy who's, they call him the showrunners. They used to call them the directors and producers, but now it's the showrunner. So the showrunner of this is Graham Yost, who, if you know him, if you know his name, you're trying to think, where have I heard that name before? He did Justified. Justified was a great series. Timothy Oliphant, great series. So it gives you hope. You know what I mean? It gives you hope that this is going to actually be an incredible show. So Silo has a few stars that you may know. It has Common. That's his name, Common. He's a rapper. He was actually he wasn't in Justified, but he was one that was very similar to that. Rashida Jones, who is Quincy Jones's daughter, but she's also, in her own right, an excellent actress. She was in The Office. She was in Parks and Rec, right? She's in a lot of other stuff, but those are my two favorites. Tim Robbins is in it. A lot of other names, and this is something that you should definitely check out the trailer if you have not seen it yet. Now, the first two episodes of Silo are going to premiere on May 5th on Apple TV+. That's 2 months away? That's not too bad. Not too bad of a wait. So I'm excited about that. I never read the books. I've only heard about it. Bill, who works on the site, he says that Silo that series is his what do you call it? Like a desert island book series, where if you were stuck on a desert island, that's what you would have. So he says it's one of his favorites, all-time favorites. I have not read it, but hey, I should, right? Hey, actually, you know what? That brings me into the next topic, right? Do you see how I did that? The next topic is about our book club. So I mentioned the book club last episode, and we got it all set up. We're doing something with it now, and let me just kind of tell you what the rules are and everything. And rules, I guess, guidelines would be a better word. So we're going to we're starting it now, actually, with World War Z. So, if you haven't read World War Z, or you want to read it again, or you just want to discuss it with us, this is how we're going to do it. We're doing it completely on Discord. I set up a few new rooms in Discord. One's called No Spoilers, so you can discuss the book without worrying about, spoilers. And then I broke down and I broke it down into 4 other groups, rooms. I mean, there's World War Z chapters 1 through 2, 3 through 4, 5 through 6, and 7 through 8. There's only 8 chapters in this book. And this book club, I set it up to be very low pressure. It's not something that we have to hurry up and read or feel. I've been a part of high pressure book clubs, and they're no fun. It gets to the point where you're like, I have a week to read this book. What am I gonna, and so you flip out and you kind of read as fast as you can, and then you don't finish, and then you're like, I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not gonna go this week, and I don't want it to be like that. So this is the game that we picked. I did a poll, and people voted on that to be on World War Z to be the the one that we do. And I love it because I've seen the movie, but I have not read the book. So I'm excited. The book is written by Max Brooks. If you don't know who Max Brooks is, he is the son of Mel Brooks, Spaceballs, very funny guy. And Anne Bancroft. So he's actually the son of both Mel Brooks and Anne Bancroft. And Anne Bancroft, I wrote this in the Discord because I thought it was such a great fact that I found. She was supposed to be in The Exorcist. Remember that movie? I think it was 80, somewhere around there, 81. Very scary movie, scared the crap out of me as a kid. She was supposed to be in that role, and she was rejected because she was pregnant. And guess who she was pregnant with? Max Brooks, the guy who went on to write World War Z. So, it should be a good little first book to read. We'll probably do some discussions on it, maybe once every 2 weeks or something like that. But the deadline I set up is June 1st. Now, you might be saying, June 1st, what? I can read, that's a little too far out there. Well, yeah, but here's my reasoning on that. Number one, I want to get more people in before then, because we only have 5 or 6 people, I guess, who have shown interest. I'd like to get more people in there and so we can have some bigger discussions on this stuff. So maybe by then we can get more people, but also, I don't want it to be rushed. I haven't even started reading it yet. I set this up, March 5th, a couple days ago, last week. So, it's kind of one of those things where if you want to join, there's plenty of time. There's plenty of time to jump in and start reading the book. I have not set up a discussion time yet. We'll probably do that next week, probably somewhere around there. Or we'll just get on Discord and we'll talk about it like a normal book club, but looking at our screens. Video isn't necessary. You don't have to turn on your camera. It could be just discussion audio. So that's what we're doing right now. If that sounds like fun to you, again, very, very low key, low pressure, casual, then, check it out. Just head to the Discord, which you can go right to the website on post-apocalyptic.com. And on the right-hand side, it'll say join us on Discord. Click on that, join Discord. If you've never used Discord before, it's basically a forum. It's replaced forums. And the rooms are text or voice. So you can I mean, they're separate. There's voice ones and there's text ones. And you'll notice the text ones have a little hashtag in front of it, and the voice ones have like a little speaker icon. So, yeah. So way at the bottom of our Discord, way at the bottom, it says Community Book Club. And I have a room for the book club general, where we discuss like what the next book will be and things like that. Then I made specific ones for World War Z. There's a no spoilers room, and like I said, then the 4 based on sections of the book. And so we'll go in there as people finish the chapters. They can go in these rooms and discuss different things that are happening in text or voice. And voice, the thing is, like, I want to schedule something, but you can go in there anytime. You could sit in there and it'll actually show you in there. And if someone else is like, hey, this person wants to discuss World War Z, and then they can jump in there and you can and talk. So it's kind of cool. I feel like I'm describing it to people who probably already know what it is, so forgive me for that. But you never know. But yeah, that's all the stuff we have today. I want to thank you all for listening. This is always a lot of fun. I just sit down and talk about the news, and it's a great day. It's a great time for me. I hope it's also a great time for you. I hope you enjoy this. Don't forget to check us out on social media. Check out the website if you haven't already, post-apocalyptic.com, and check out all the things we do. There's so much more there, so much more. We have the YouTube roundup. We have the Kickstarter roundup at the beginning of every month. We have news on other things I don't talk about here, like Attack on Titan, and I don't know anything about Attack on Titan really. So, but Stephanie does, and Stephanie writes a whole lot about it. And we have other, there's so much more on the site than just what I blabber on here. So that's a good thing. But yeah, check us out on social media, check out the site. And again, I want to thank everyone for listening. And as always, make sure that you stay alive out there and always be ready for the big one. Bye-bye.